Yeah, so obviously done our portion of the first round. I know it's still going on, but we're trying to see if we can get everybody here home before tomorrow. We're excited about the results for us. Wes Clark can speak more deeply on the players, in the coming. Later today or tomorrow, whenever he addresses everybody. But for us to come out of the first round with the three players that we did, I think all very different player types, we're extremely excited and look forward to tomorrow. But I'll open it up for any questions specifically on Ben Kindle, like Bill Zan, and Will Horkoff.
I think Kindle seemed like an outside the box pick to some people. Some of the draft experts had him going a little lower. What was it about him that you liked so much that forced you to take him there?
Yeah, Wes will talk deeply about him tomorrow, but I think right from the beginning of the year, he was a player that our area scouts and then Wes had really keyed in on as someone that they just had a lot of belief in. And then, so I had watched him play, and he just continued to get better and better. And then especially, we understand he's not the biggest guy, but you look at the production and you look at the intelligence and the skill set. And where we came to in the last couple of days as we met here was just if we passed on him, we had intel that he wasn't going to go much further beyond, and we just didn't want to look back on it and say, geez, why did we pass on this guy that had 99 points and then stepped up his game in the playoffs? And it's just it has all the makings of one of these prototypical ones that we were going to kick ourselves about. So Wes was certain about it for months that Ben should be in that mix and would be a great pick, and he has deep belief in him, and obviously I from what I've watched on tape and live, I see exactly what Wes is talking about, and we're thrilled to have him.
You take three forwards. Did you come in today wanting to both just
No,
shook out?
No, we didn't come in thinking that we were going to come out with three forwards. I think the where we came to was we felt by moving out of the 12th pick, it would give us a chance to potentially add, two more high-end players that we had rated high on our list, but that not picking until 59 tomorrow. And then once we saw the way it was going, we thought there's very little chance we were going to get somebody that we really had rated high at 59. So what we did was we traded to what we did was select Bill there, and then we just felt like if we didn't move up and get Will Horkoff, we were going to be reaching a little bit at the pick later, and so we used 59 to get up and make sure that we got Will as well. It was just a quality of player thing and where they came out on our board and how they graded out for us. We were fortunate we got some D last year that have already signed and ready to come in, plus P and Yemi from the class the year before, which we'll develop. And we just especially with the variance, the varying style of play from all three of them, we were excited about it.
Make two trades. They're all involving picks. Were there any discussions as far as assets, either players or prospects going or coming?
Yeah, there's been lots of trade conversation the last couple of days. And then as usual, there's a big trade obviously earlier today with Montreal and the Islanders and a few others, but nothing that for us that we felt really got us, that was going to affect tonight close to the finish line.
What did you see in Bill as a player? Because he's someone who kind of seemed to creep up on draft boards over the last year or so.
Well, I think Bill this year, he played on an excellent team and was a massive part of a really good team in the QMJHL. And throughout the year, every time you watched him, his production speaks for itself. But I think the thing that was most exciting to us was that he really thrived when he moved to center. Was excellent at center, plays in all situations, plays against the other team's best players, and as the year went on, just the level of competitiveness, especially in the playoffs for them, was really a driver for his team, and that was for us, the most exciting part of him. So the combination of size, the competitiveness, and then the production, and then stepping his game up as it went along, especially as they faced very difficult opponents and on their road to playing Moncton. And so we were excited to get him. Then we met him at the combine. You see the intelligence level and the combine results, how much they predict is depends on how deep you want to go into it in terms of the actual testing, but it gives us a base for when a player comes in here, and he's obviously someone that's taken that element very seriously, and we know he's going to give us everything he has to get to reach his potential.
Do you view all three prospects as centers or just forwards to find their way?
We'll let Dan figure that out in time. Not you, Dan, but Dan, Coach Dan. So we will. We'll have. All three of them have played center. Kindle and Zonin more so than Horkoff of late. We view all of them. They play in all situations, and we're excited about them. If they can all play, all three of them can play center, that would be fantastic. But we're going to need guys to play higher up the lineup as well on the wing. So having that ability where we know that they can shift between positions is always great.
Well, I feel like it was at the deadline you talked about having triples in a few different rounds in the next 3 years. I mean, to come away with triples tonight, I mean, just how helpful is that as you guys are continuing along this path to get the Penguins back to where everyone wants to be?
I think you're trying to find that balance between having a lot and having quality, and we have to deliver. We think all three players, and that's why we traded back up again to make sure that we got Will, was that we felt like after him as the way that we had graded it out that there would be a bit of a drop off, so we wanted to make sure that we got him, and but we're hopeful. We believe that all three are going to be very high quality players in the NHL. So we're excited about that. Excited to get to work with them. And obviously, when you're in our position, you're accruing picks and prospects. But you have to make good on them. You have to draft good players. You have to do a great job in developing them. And we'll turn them over after today to Tom Kostopoulos, and we'll get to work.
Well, kind of going right off of that, it's not just about tonight, it's about what you've been doing for a while now, accruing that young talent. Just how do you feel, like Michelle said, about that path that you've been on for quite a bit now?
Yeah, I mean, it's I knew coming in to take the job that it was eventually going to be the path we had to go down. I think we've talked about a number of times, what the mandate was at the start was to try to give the team one last boost in the summer of 2023, and then but know that at some point we're going to have to make the call to go into this mode to try to build to transition to that next era of the team contending again. And we know what people say about the prospect pool and the class and how long of a road people think it's going to be, but we are down there, and every ounce of our focus is about getting the team back to contention as urgently as possible. So I know that can at times confuse, but we don't sit down and say it's going to be X amount of years. What can we do to help bring the team back to contention as quickly as possible, and then execute and try to get us there.
I believe you have 9 picks left tomorrow. Do you anticipate using all those? Is there ever a danger of having too many prospects in the system in terms of just being able to pay attention enough to all of them and aid their development?
Well, we have, as I think, one of the major things in coming in was that the ownership group was, they were very clear that they were going to invest. Like I felt the areas we really need to invest were player development and research and development, and they've backed up everything they told me 2 years ago when coming in here that they would invest. So if those departments have continued to grow, if we feel that we get to a point where the players aren't getting enough from our player development department, we will address that and continue to add quality people to it. We've moved Sheldon Brookbank from Wilkes-Barre's coaching staff to the development staff, so we had another layer there with Brookie. We have a full-time member of our NHL staff now, and Rich Clune is going to be the conduit towards development and has deep experience with that. So we know that we have to get the most out of our NHL players, but that we also have to ensure that our young developing players are getting the resources they need to reach their potential.
Kyle, there was chatter that you might try to trade up in the top 10. Is that true that you're trying? And if so, did you get close at all?
Well, we had the 2 picks, and I think we put our best foot forward to try to do it. And I think as you saw, nobody moved out of the top 10. They all held. I think we, with a number of teams that seemed open to it, we put in front of them a number of options in the event that they got to the pick and wanted to move down. And none of that came to fruition. So. That's sometimes just the way it goes, and oftentimes you look back and are thankful that you held, and we're looking forward to work with the 3 guys now for sure. If we had moved up, we would have ended up just with having 1 player tonight as well, which we would have been happy with, but we're thrilled with the players that we have.
A decentralized draft. Obviously, teams kind of went through this 2020, 21 with COVID. But first off, do you prefer this kind of format? And what's different when you're not maybe face to face with another GM and president discussing things?
There's so little that's actually face to face at the, aside from like the social stuff before the draft, everything else is on the phone. When I was in the OHL for like growing up and then as the GM in the Sioux, it was this exact format. So it's fine for me. We'll see what happens. I know there's been a lot of chatter about it, and I've got lots of texts throughout the night that people maybe want to just go back to how it was. Whatever the league decides is best for the league is it's good with us. We've got a lot of people that have major junior experience in the room that are used to this exact format the way it is today. Whatever they decide is best, we'll be ready. As you know, we have a lot of picks coming up the next number of years, so we'll be major actors in all those drafts.
I'm sorry if you were already asked this,
Sure.
but just curious, what was Dan Muse's role just throughout all this, as far as input, being a resource, kind of bouncing ideas off? Just what was kind of his role or position in the room?
Yeah, Dan knew some of the kids. I mean, he knew some of the kids from when they were essentially scouting them at the US program, because that would have been at the end of his last year, so he wouldn't have had any interaction with them. Dan's major task since coming on has been filling out his coaching staff, which we're getting to the end of that. We've got one more addition to make, and then we'll wrap on that front. And then just he's been having lots of interactions with our players, and now it's serving as the calling them and introducing himself and kind of letting the players know before they come in for development camp on Monday or Tuesday. Just what the expectation of them is going to be from his side. So it's that would be his role here. Yeah.
What role are you looking to add to the coaching staff and the hires you have made? How is that division going to work out with the responsibilities?
Someone to run the D and the penalty kill. Obviously Todd Nelson will run the power play. That's been his specialty. Nick Bonino will sort of serve as the face-offs and then start to learn all about coaching, and Rich Kloon will serve as the eye in the sky and then really focus on the developmental side and throughout his own experience and all that he's learned. So we got that one kind of opening left. Yeah.
Kyle, I hate to ask this, but a lot of noise in Montreal about Sidney Crosby. What do you have to say about any of that and some of the comments tonight?
Yeah, I didn't know exactly. Is it Montreal?
Georges Laraque tonight said
Georges Laraque.
he thought that
Colorado too.
Yeah.
Somewhere at the usual suspects.
Usual suspects.
Yeah. I haven't seen that. I mean, obviously our focus here is deep. So I'm not sure what or if Pat has commented or whomever about it. There's no change at all to anything from our perspective. Everything that we're doing is about bringing the team back to being a contending team, and our hope is to sure do that while Sid is a member of the Pittsburgh Penguins. So that's really all I can offer. I'm sorry. Yeah, the focus has been on picking players and not random former players' views on matters, but that's life. Yeah, I get it.
Well stated.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Thanks,